All right, today we are diving into a really unique interpretation of prophecy. It's a theory that connects ancient scripture, American symbols, and a very specific timeline for the future. And it all spirals out from just one single cryptic phrase from the Bible.
And this is it. This is the phrase at the heart of everything. It's from the book of Daniel. For centuries, people have been trying to crack this code. Is it literal? Is it symbolic? Well, the source material we're digging into today offers a very specific, and I gotta say, pretty unconventional answer.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we're going to try to decode the hidden math in that biblical phrase. Then, we'll see how that same math is supposedly staring us right in the face on the US $1 bill. After that, we'll explore why America is seen as a key prophetic location, who the people at the center of this prophecy are, and finally, how it all comes together in a detailed timeline that stretches all the way to the year 2034.
Okay, let's get right into the first pillar of this whole theory. According to the source, figuring this prophecy out isn't just about theology, it's about math. And the entire key is to redefine one single crucial word: time.
Now, you've probably heard the common interpretation, right? That time times and half a time simply adds up to 3.5 years. It's pretty straightforward. But the author of our source material says, nope, not even close. They throw that idea out completely and argue that a much bigger, much more specific number is the real key. And here it is. This is the absolute foundation of the whole argument. The author says that a single prophetic time isn't 1 year, it's exactly 430 years. Now, where does that number come from? It's pulled directly from the book of Exodus, which says that's how long the Israelites lived in Egypt. This one redefinition, well, it changes everything. Okay, so let's do the math together. The first piece is a time. Based on that connection to the Israelites in Egypt, the source defines this as 430 years. Simple enough, that's our foundational building block. Next up, we have times, plural. Now, here's a key little interpretive leap this source makes. It defines the plural times as a multiple of 3. So you take our base unit of 430 years, you multiply it by 3, and that gives you 1,290 years. And the last part of the phrase is half a time. This one's pretty straightforward, right? It's just half of our 430-year base unit, which gives us 215 years. So now we have our 3 numbers. So let's put it all together. You add 437 plus 1290 plus 215, and you get a grand total of 1935 years. According to the author, this isn't just some random number. It's the precise length of a major prophetic countdown clock. But of course, a countdown needs a start date. The text pinpoints this all the way back to 81 AD, linking it to the persecution of Christians under the Roman Emperor Domitian. So if you start that 1,935-year clock in 81 AD, you land squarely on the year 2016. Remember that year. It's the absolute anchor for this entire theory. All right, now we move to the next part of this puzzle. The author doesn't just stop with the biblical calculation. They claim that there's a parallel proof, a second witness, hidden in plain sight on the back of the US $1 bill. Okay, here's how the source breaks this one down. The foundation of the pyramid is clearly dated 1776. The author then interprets the 12 levels of stone on the pyramid as representing the 12 apostles. Then, they assign a value of 20 years to each of those levels. So 12 times 20 gives you 240 years. And what happens when you add 240 years to 1776? Well, what do you know? You land once again at 2016. So now we've got a timeline and a symbol that are apparently pointing to the very same year. The obvious next question is, why is the United States so central to all this? Well, the source argues that America itself plays a specific prophesied role. The author creates this really powerful analogy. In this view, Europe, with its long history of religious persecution, is seen as a symbolic Egypt, a place of bondage. America, on the other hand, is cast as the prophetic wilderness from the book of Revelation, a huge prepared land where people could flee to find refuge and be spiritually nourished. And to support this idea, the text lists these characteristics of the biblical wilderness and applies them right to American history. It's described as a place prepared by God, a place that was at first sparsely populated, full of prairies and open land. It was a place where the persecuted could find safety, and it was a land that eventually became incredibly fruitful, almost like a paradise. The author basically sees a perfect one-to-one match. Okay, so we have the when, 2016, and we have the where, America. Now we have to get to the who.
Who are the people at the very center of this prophecy? And this is where the theory takes what is maybe its most dramatic turn. This quote really gets to the core of the whole argument. The source claims that the true Christians, the people this prophecy is really about, are not just believers by faith, but they are the actual genetic descendants of the 10 lost tribes of Israel who were scattered across the world centuries ago. So let's be totally clear on this. The argument being made here is that a person's ability to truly hear and respond to the Christian message is literally predetermined by their bloodline. It says that your faith is actually the evidence of your genetic lineage. It completely reframes the identity of Christians as the literal, biological, lost sheep that Jesus spoke about finding. And now we bring all of these pieces together. We have the 1935-year countdown, the 2016 date, America as the location, and the idea of who the people are. All of it gets woven together to construct the source's final prophetic timeline, which it calls Daniel's final week.
So here's the final timeline that the source lays out. It all starts in 2016, which kicks off Daniel's final week, a 7-year period. That period was predicted to end in 2023, starting a process to establish a kingdom in Israel. Looking forward from there, the timeline predicts major prophetic events, like the fifth seal, which is often seen as a time of martyrdom, happening around 2027. It then points to about 2030 as the start of a final 1290-day countdown, which all culminates around 2034 with a period of intense crisis known as the Great Tribulation, followed by the Second Coming.
So, what do we take away from all this? The source text weaves together numerology, symbology, and scripture to create this incredibly detailed and predictive framework. It really is a fascinating case study in interpretation. And it leaves us with a much bigger question to think about. How do these ancient texts, modern symbols, and the events of our own history continue to shape our search for meaning and our understanding of what's to come?